So, why am I bothering you with what seems to be kind of a long story of our troubles and tribulations, which should be strictly our domestic affairs and should not, well, theoretically speaking, should not concern the outside observers? That's exactly because this system was created with direct support from the West, and now this system, rejected by the Russian people, is firmly associated with US and European involvement. And that also brings me to what I've studied from the current Western wisdom, is that under Putin, Russia is backsliding from democracy. This I hear all the time, at every step. And my answer to that is that there was nothing to backslide from. Any leader who would have followed Yeltsin would have faced the same challenge, to minimize the damage and to reconstruct from ashes a prototype of a working state, not just a really proper functioning state, but something like initial stage of that, a prototype. And this is a job akin to calling in the riot police to restore order. And everyone in the Putin's place would have no practical choice but to try to start with creating what we call in Russia a vertical of power. It meant that he had to take others that on appearance looked authoritarian. He had to rein in the oligarchs who viewed Russia as their war spoils. In doing so, he inevitably had to rein in the media. That is because the Russian media served not the public. They were used by the oligarchs as weapons for plundering public resources. Putin had to rein in the governors, most of whom had turned into semi-independent feudal lords. And in the absence of functioning democratic parties, he hardly had any choice but to create a loyal and obedient party and let it have a working majority in parliament. And now, after years of turmoil and chaos, people find themselves in a more predictable and stable Russia. Their living standards are gradually improving. Between years 2000 and 2004, the number of Russians living below the government's poverty line dropped from 42 million to 26 million. Is it any wonder that Putin's popular approval stands at 76%, an unprecedented success for any mid-second term presidency? And if you consider that the most simple and basic definition of democracy is ruled by consent of the people, then under Putin, Russia has made spectacular progress compared to the Yeltsin era.